everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 165. If you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, thanks so much for checking out my podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, and hand-dyeing yarn in Brooklyn, where I live. So, as always, I'm very excited that you decided to spend a little bit of your day chatting about crafting and knitting and all those wonderful things with me. So I guess I will get right into, updates and what have you. Rhinebeck is coming up. I don't know if you could tell, the weather is getting cooler and I'm wearing a sweater, which can only mean Rhinebeck is nigh. It's coming quickly. So I guess it's time for me to just start talking about it. Shall I? I think I shall. So yeah, I just want to mention quickly that there is a podcaster meetup. I'm going to be spending the weekend, Friday through Sunday morning, with some really good friends of mine. We're going to make a weekend out of it. And that will include Laura, who's coming down from Texas. She's the dyer behind Jinx Yarns and the host of the Dyer's Notebook podcast. So she'll be coming down, and Maria from the Subway Knits podcast. We're all going to spend the time together at Rhinebeck, and some other really good friends of ours. And yeah, it's just going to be so fun. I cannot wait. But we are going to have a podcaster meetup at the Indie Untangled Rhinebeck Trunk Show on Friday night. I think it takes place in Kingston, New York, which is very close to Rhinebeck or the fairgrounds. It's going to be at the Best Western hotel in Kingston, New York, and it's going to happen between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. I think we're going to shoot to be there around 6:30 p.m. So if you can make it, definitely stop by and say hello. I'm going to try and have some buttons. I'm going to have some mini skeins to hand out. And if you can't make it, if you see me or Maria or Laura wandering around the fairgrounds, definitely say hello to us. We do not bite. We give hugs. So, and plus we would really love to meet you guys in person. So don't be shy. Stop by, say hello. It'll be a lot of fun. So yay, I can't wait. I'm sure I'll have more stuff to talk about as we get closer to the dates. As we get closer to Rhinebeck, I'll definitely have more to talk about. But okay, now that we got that out of the way, I guess I will move on to what's off my needles. Because you probably saw this on Instagram already, but I finished my fairy hair socks. And these are dyed on my Wolke base, which, by the way, means Wolke is cloud in German, in case you're wondering. And these are dyed the Wolke is a super, I cannot talk today, guys. I apologize. But yeah, my Wolke base is a merino nylon cashmere blend. I believe it's 80% superwash merino, 10% nylon, and 10% cashmere. So very luxurious, incredibly soft. Dare I say a little too luxurious for a pair of socks, but hey, everyone needs a nice, luxurious pair of socks in their life, I think. But yes, I knit these with the intention of using these as my cover model for my favorite socks pattern, which is a free pattern that I published. So it's available to download on Ravelry. I revamped it. It's by no means an original pattern. It's just my go-to sock pattern that I love to knit. So it's a sock recipe. Just my default basic sock that I knit, which is a 1x1 ribbing, or sometimes 2x2, depending what mood I'm in. Cuff down, reinforced heel flap, and then a turned heel, and then just a grafted Kitchener stitch toe. And I explain how to do everything in detail in the pattern. And as always, if you have any questions, ping me on Ravelry or email, and I'm happy to answer any questions about them. But yeah, if you're new to sock knitting or thinking about knitting a pair of socks, definitely check out the pattern. I feel like it's very, user-friendly, and, I kind of walk you through each step by step, and spell everything out. So definitely give it a try. You have nothing to lose. It's a free pattern. Learn to knit a pair of socks. It'll be fun. But anyway, so yay, these are all done. But you know what that means? When one casts off or finishes knitting a pair of socks, you have to cast on another pair. It only makes sense, right? So I'm moving along to what's on my needles now. So once those are done, I immediately cast on a new pair. And of course, I took the plunge because everyone's knitting a pair. I started knitting myself a pair of blueberry waffle socks. So this is a super fun pattern, a nice break from plain stockinette. It's a free pattern as well. I'm totally blanking on who wrote it, but yes, it's a free downloadable pattern on Ravelry. Check it out. So yeah, and I'm just doing a 1x1 ribbing, the blueberry waffle stitch pattern, which is super easy, but it looks super complicated. I don't know, but I like the way it's turning out. And for this one, I'm doing a fish lips kiss heel. Yeah, just because it's been a while since I knit one, and I was kind of craving a fish lips kiss heel. Yeah. And I'm knitting these out of query fibers, and I don't know, I'm totally blanking on the base name, but it's a tweed. I don't know if you can see those little bits of noil in there, or nep. And this is her fairy colorway. So I just finished knitting a pair of fairy hair socks. It only makes sense for me to knit a pair of fairy socks. So do you notice a theme here? So yeah, I had this caked up in my, I originally wanted to knit a pair of socks out of this colorway, but I just wasn't feeling it when I caked it up, and when you're not feeling it, you just don't cast anything on. So this was kind of just sitting in cake form, and finally I just felt inspired to cast on a pair of blueberry waffle socks with this. So yay. And yeah, it's a great pattern. I really like it. As I mentioned, it's a nice break. It's a simple, popcorny kind of pattern, but it's a nice break if you're tired of all the stockinette plain stitch going around and around and around. And of course, I'm knitting these on my US 1.5 carbons, Knitter's Pride carbons, circulars. So yay. And these are living in my Mina Makes bag. I showed this to you last week. Mina, who is the host of the Knitting Expat podcast, visited New York, as I mentioned last week, and we spent some time together, and it was so great getting to hang out with her in person. She has a lovely personality, even more so hanging out with her in person, as I said. So, and she was so kind and generous and made me this beautiful project bag. And yeah, here's her tag, Mina Makes. She has it at Etsy shop. So definitely check it out. And yeah, she knows I love purple, mauve. It's got some greens and yellows in there. Totally my style. Thank you, Mina. This is awesome. So, okay. Next up is my lumpy space shawl, which I showed you last week. I made some progress on it, and then I didn't. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So the Lumpy Space Shawl is a pattern by West Knits, Stephen West, and it's not your traditional shawl shape. It's actually a rhombus, or a rhombi, it's a diamond shape. So if you can imagine, I knit one side, this is section 1, and then I knit section 2. No, I'm sorry. These are both section 1. I just had to repeat the section to create the other side. And I'm using... the blue is Bijou Basin Ranch Himalayan Trail in their sky colorway, and then the purple is a hand-spun fuzzling by Fondant Fibers, which is really fun. And the plan was, in addition, to coordinate with these, the pattern calls for 4 contrasting colors. So in addition to those, I was going to use this skein by Fiddle Knits fibers in her, I think it was an Experiment at Dusk. It was a one-of-a-kind, I believe. And this has been sitting in my stash for quite some time, so I was really excited to finally be using it. And then I was going to use Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the Fossil colorway to coordinate as the stripes going around the diamond that I create. And it turned out that they want me to use, or the pattern wants me to use this as the center diamond that's going to be knit in the middle to join the 2 pieces that I just knit, if that makes any sense at all. Because I know I'm talking a lot here. But yeah, so I started knitting this section, filling in the little angle section here. I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, I started filling in this part right here by knitting with this yarn, and it just was not jiving at all. I was looking at it and I was not pleased with it. And I spent maybe an hour and a half knitting with it, and it just wasn't happening. So I frogged it. I frogged back. But now I really don't, I'm kind of on the fence about what I want to use for the centerpiece. I mean, I have to use this one because it has the yardage for the whole pattern. And if I could use the loft as the center because that's originally what I thought it was going to be. But anyway, I don't have the yardage for this. So I went stash diving and I pulled out some contenders, some skein yarn, this beautiful colorway in Moroccan mint. This is her top drawer base, which is really lovely and soft. And I think that could be a really good center color, but I'm still not sold on it. So I pulled out this other skein of wool, of her wash fingering to use as the center. So I'm kind of liking that. But then for the contrasting color, like instead of using the Fossil colorway by Brooklyn Tweed, so I was thinking about maybe using this as a contrasting color instead. So this as the center one, and then this as the other contrasting color. And this is a skein of Vine, some yarn that I dyed in collaboration with Laura from the Dyer's Notebook and Jinx Yarns. So what happened was she sent me some yarn that she dyed, and then I over-dyed it, and then I did the same. I sent her some yarn that I dyed, and she over-dyed it. So we did a little collaboration, and this is the one that she sent me, and I over-dyed. So I might be copying Carlene from the Made with Carlenergy podcast because she used the other colorway that I sent to Laura that Laura overdyed. Anyway, back to the point. So yeah, I think I might be doing that. So if you can imagine, this skein of wool will be the center diamond, and then it'll be part of the stripes that go around the diamond, and then this will be the contrasting color, which I think goes perfectly with this. So yay, I think I have a winner. But yeah, it could be subject to change. I don't know, no promises. But yeah, otherwise, that's where that is right now. It's really sad that I had to rip out all that work, but it wasn't that much work. It just felt like a lot because I was working on it intermittently. So, but yes, living in my own hand-sewn Voolenvine yarns project bag that I made for myself. I don't have enough fabric to make another one, unfortunately. I may have to order more, and I will be honest, I have not had any time to sew these past few weeks, so I am a little short on project bags, but as I mentioned, yarn is pretty much my main product that I sell in my shop. So when I have project bags, I'll list them. When I don't, I'm sorry, but yeah, I made this for myself, and I love the little ball gowns on here. And inside, I love it. It's like these little stars, and it's so retro, so awesomely retro. But yes, my featherweight cardigan, which I've been making so much progress on it. And this is also my hand-dyed yarn on my Halo alpaca base, which in my Gashly Crumb colorway, which is my ode to Edward Gorey, and he's one of my favorite illustrators and artists. So if you're not familiar with him, try Googling him. He has a lot of really cool kind of Halloween-esque kind of illustrations. Very me. So here's where I am. I finished the ribbing, and then I started the sleeve. And yeah, so I'm making progress on the sleeve. I was hoping to have completed the sleeve over the weekend, but it just didn't happen. And one thing that's concerning me a little bit, the sleeve looks a little thin. And I tried it on, it fits. It's just, it stretches out a little bit. But I know once I block it, because this is a superwash, it's a 60% superwash merino, 20% superfine alpaca, and another 20% of nylon. So it's definitely gonna stretch out a little bit, or a lot, I should say. So I'm not really concerned about the sleeve looking too thin, because I know it's gonna stretch a little bit, and I can shape it. So, and I have a little stitch marker. Sorry. And I have a little stitch marker that I made, or a little progress keeper with a teapot. I love, 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 love the teapot. It is so cute and awesome. Anyway, I'll stop geeking out over that. But I'm knitting these on my Carbuns, my Knitter's Pride Carbuns interchangeables on US size 6 needles. And yeah, I started out, when I started knitting the sleeve, I started out on circulars and then it got a little too finicky. So I switched to DPNs, but then now that I'm well into the sleeve, I can just, it's only a couple stitches, I can just, I switched back to circulars, so no biggie. So yeah, that's where I am with that, and yes, I will definitely have a Rhinebeck sweater. So very, very excited, yay! I completely forgot to mention the featherweight knit along that I am hosting. So I'm probably going to insert this here where I last left off talking about it. But yes, I am in conjunction with knitting my Rhinebeck sweater, which is a featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettig. I am hosting a countdown to winter featherweight cal. So if you are interested, things kicked off the first day of fall, which was actually yesterday, the 23rd of the 23rd of September was the first day of fall. So yay, fall is upon us, guys. Sweater weather is here. So what better way to kick that off with a knit along? So that will be running down, that will be running through all the way until the first day of winter, which is, I believe, December 22nd. So 3-month knit along, we will have prizes, giveaway prizes, so stay tuned for that. And yes, so if you have ever wanted to knit a featherweight cardigan, want to knit another featherweight cardigan, join in the fun. And of course, I created a Ravelry thread for that. There's a chatter thread and a non-chatter thread for those of you who want to enter to win prizes. So check that out. But yeah, so just FYI, just to give you, many of you have been posting in there already, which is awesome. As always, I love seeing all your progress and the photos that you guys are sharing. So check it out. All right, back to what I was talking about. And I know last week I talked about another sweater pattern that I was dying to cast on. What is it? The Stonecutter Shawl by Michelle Wong, which is a sweater that I saw, or a pullover that I saw hanging in Gauge Intention when I was doing the trunk show there. And I fell in love with it and wanted to cast it on like immediately, as I mentioned. So as you know, I went on a hunt for yarn. I do have a worsted base that I could have dyed my own, but I didn't want, it's super wash merino, and I'm still kind of on the hunt for a different kind of wool blend for a worsted weight yarn that I can dye, or that I would want to start dyeing and offering in my shop. But in the meantime, while I'm still looking at that, I decided to just purchase some other worsted weight yarn. It was a toss-up between Cascade 220 or Quince & Co. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to some really nice yarn. So I went with the Quince & Co. And it came, sorry for the rustling, but it came the other day on Monday in this huge, obviously in a package, but they ship all their yarn in paper bags, which I think is really cute. But I ordered 11 skeins of Quince & Co.'s Lark. It is Lark, right? Yes, Lark in the Damson colorway. Is this not me, you guys? I mean, it looks great. It's like a purple, dark purple gray. It's so beautiful and so soft and squishy. So yeah, here's their tag, Quince & Co. And it's been a while since I've knit with Quince & Co. yarn. I think the last, I'm trying to think of the last pattern that I knit. I used Churn. There's a shawl pattern. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll try to post a link to it in the show notes. But yeah, it's their Lark base has 134 yards. And yeah, it's the Damson colorway. So it's 100% American wool. So it's local, and I love the color. So 11 skeins of these. This is going to be a Stonecutter pullover, and it's taking every ounce of my fiber not to cast this on. Though I may swatch just to kind of, whet my appetite a little bit. So very excited about that. And I also purchased by Michelle Wong the Quadri hat, which she designed for the plucky knitter. So two patterns by Michelle Wong that I am over the moon excited about to cast on. So stay tuned for that. And I might just knit the hat out of some Joel Draper Make stuff, because I do have two skeins of her Empire yarn, which is like a lofty, what is it, Polworth or Corriedale? Probably neither, but anyway, I have to look at the label again. It's nice and spongy and squishy and lovely. So I might knit that out of the brown one. I have like a nice chocolate brown that I'm planning to knit for Dennis. So it will not have a pom-pom, sadly, but the next one that I knit will have a pom-pom, because that one's going to be for me. So as I mentioned, stay tuned for that. I have yet to cast those on, but yeah, so no spinning this week again. There just hasn't been any time, which is really sad, and just lots and lots and lots and lots of dyeing. So I have some, I'll talk about, what colorways I'll have on hand in this week's shop update section, but I think I want to talk about, let me see. Yes. I guess I'll move on to Ask Away, because we have quite a few questions from there. So I pulled 3 questions. Hatha on Ravelry asks, hi Kristen, I'm an art student and really enjoy knitting, but I am wanting to dye some yarn for some future projects. I love your yarns. They are so tonal and variegated and perfect. Thank you. And was wondering if you could explain the process of how you dye your yarn. Do you buy your yarns from a mill? Just a few questions. Thanks for the help. Okay. So I buy my bases from a few places wholesale, not just one particular place in general, but I buy my base. They come to me bare in bulk. So when those come to me, I tie them and I soak them in citric acid and water. So I believe it's, I usually put maybe like, what do I do? I usually do like 2 tablespoons per pound of yarn. So 4 skeins, if 4 skeins are 4 ounces, if one skein is 4 ounces each, 4 skeins together is 16 ounces. So that's 1 pound. So that I usually soak it in water and 2 tablespoons of citric acid. But normally I dye a lot more than that at a time. So, you can imagine, just do the math and soak it in however much citric acid that you need in a huge tub, if you can imagine. So once those soak, I let them soak for about maybe 2 hours. Generally, you only have to let it soak for about 30 minutes, but I like to just let it soak in there a little bit more, just so I know I have insurance that that color is going to stay on. And then I bring it then when I'm ready to dye, I do immersion dyeing, so mainly immersion dyeing. I do different techniques, but mainly I do immersion dyeing. So when I'm boiling pots, I just boil water on the pot, and then if I want to add dye before I add the yarn to the mix, I do that. Or if I just want to put the yarn in and have fun and add the dye, the world's your oyster. You can do whatever, or the sky's the limit, I should say. I just go at it. So obviously I'm not going to give you my recipes, because that would just be wrong. So that would ruin the secret, you guys. No, so sorry. But to that water, I usually add just another dollop of citric acid, just as I mentioned, extra insurance, because why not? And that's pretty much the basic gist of how, or the process that I go through to dye yarn. So, there's no right or wrong way. Every dyer has their own style or method of dyeing yarn. So, again, play around, see what works for you, and let that be your guide. So, but I always say safety first. So, as long as you are wearing protective rubber gloves, you have your respirator on, and an apron to prevent any splatters. Have fun. Just have at it. So I hope that answers your question. So I'm going to move on to the next one. So the next question is from Michaela D on Ravelry, and she wants to know, she says, hi Kristen, I've been looking at sock patterns lately, trying to find one that would be ideal to A, learn to knit a sock, and B, use a short circular like an 8-inch Addy circular. Since it was your adorable sock pattern that made me decide to knit a pair, thank you. I thought I'd ask you personally, is your vanilla sock pattern suitable or adaptable to use a short circular instead of DPNs, which I tend to drop, or magic loop, which cause ladders? Or can you suggest another pattern? Okay, so yeah, my pattern is definitely adaptable for short circulars. And if you're not familiar with short circulars, they're very short and they would prevent a ladder. I have not tried it with short circulars yet, but I believe it is definitely adaptable. I think once you get down to the heel and the gussets, you may need to switch to DPNs. But for the cuff and the leg and for the foot, you can, and for grafting, you can definitely get away with a shorter circular needle. But yes, I would definitely switch to DPNs once you reach that the heel flap and the gussets, because it's going to get way too tight and fiddly, and you're not even going to see ladders when you're working that part of the sock anyway. So that would be my piece of advice to you. So yeah, I hope that helps. And if you guys have any questions as far as that you want me to address on or answer on the podcast, be it knitting related, spinning related, dyeing related, or personal questions or what have you within reason, I'm happy to answer them. Just leave a question in the Ask Away thread in the YarnGasm Ravelry group. So okay, that was a lot of talking. So I'm going to move on to shop update. So if you are not interested, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. If not, I've got a shop update tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on VoolenvineYarns.com. So I have been a busy bee dyeing in the kitchen, and I have been making it my priority to get a lot of these out because they've been getting some requests. Gashly Crumb will be in stock. This is my Edward Gorey colorway that I'm currently knitting my featherweight out of. So I will have this on Volca. I will have this on Halo Alpaca, which I'm showing you here. I will have it on Blitzed, so it will have some sparkle. And of course I will have some fairy hair. This is on Halo Alpaca, but it will be dyed across all my bases. And then Christmas colorways. Yay! I know I just said the C word. I said the C word, but you got to think ahead. You got to plan ahead, because I know a lot of you have been wanting to cast on your holiday projects. So I went ahead and I dyed up some Holly Jolly, which is this really cool variegated holiday color. It's got some Christmas red, it's got some winter-esque teal in there, and some pine green, like a Christmas tree, as it should. So yeah, really fun. And then if you're not into the variegateds, I have it on speckled. So this is Deck the Halls, which is heavily speckled, greens, reds, and the same teal blue that you see in here. So lots of those will be in the shop tomorrow in tomorrow's update. So I hope you can make it. And yeah, so I will have a lot of that. I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to dyeing today because I have a lot going on. I actually have a birthday party that I have to go to. So I don't think it's in the cards that I will dye anymore today, but I did dye a lot of yarn, so it will be a big update. So I hope you can make it and check it out. I'm trying to think what else I need to talk about regarding shop stuff. Yeah, so I think that's it for shop update. So I'm going to move on to blather. Yeah, it's been another busy week. We had my little cousin's birthday party to go to on Saturday. She turned 7, and yeah, kids really grow up super fast. It's crazy. So, but yeah, she had a tie-dye birthday party, tie-dye themed. So everything was tie-dye, and I even got swindled into, well, you didn't really have to twist my arm. I actually made my own tie-dye t-shirt and had a little too much fun with it. I don't know if I posted it on Instagram, but I probably should because it's awesome. I will probably send it to her just, because I'm not the tie-dye wearing type of person, but I'm really pleased with the way my tie-dye shirt turned out. Anyway, very proud of myself. And then on Sunday we had a wedding to go to. So that was fun. It was out in New Jersey, so we didn't have to drive too far, but we ended up spending the night since it was on Sunday, and yeah, we had all of Monday, to drive back and take our time and just me and Dennis, obviously. We did a little shopping on the way back. We stopped at Wegmans, which we've never been to before, which I'm sorry, my nose is very itchy all of a sudden. I apologize. Which is a really awesome grocery store. As I mentioned, we've never been to one, and only recently we found out that they're expanding. It's kind of, if I could describe it, it's like Trader Joe's meets Stu Leonard's. So huge grocery store with lots of their own brand of things, lots of organic stuff, lots of it was magical. We treated ourselves to some fancy cheese. We got some, I don't know, just stocked up on a lot of yummy snacks, basically. And then we went to Home Goods because that was in the same area where we went shopping. I don't even know why I'm going on about this, but yeah, it was just a lot of fun just going to Home Goods. We bought new pillows, we bought some decor, and then where else did we go to? Yeah, I think that was it. Came home, got takeout. Oh, no, we grilled. We barbecued. We made hamburgers and asparagus, which was very, very tasty. And I'm trying to think what else. Last night we went over to our neighbor's place. They invited us over for scary movie night, and we watched House in the Woods, which was very entertaining. And yeah, it's just been a busy week. I am looking forward to a quiet weekend. Dennis is actually going upstate to visit his parents, and I've just got a lot of work that I need to catch up on and probably just relax because I just need some quiet time, I think. And so that will be really nice just to kind of relax, get some knitting done, get some work, play catch up, get some dyeing done perhaps. So yeah. Anyway, I guess that's it for what I have to talk about. Yes. So anyway, before I babble your ear off anymore, I will let you go. Happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye. La, 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 la.